So I've been wanting a director's monitor for quite some time now, and I think I might have just pieced together the cheapest option by far. And it still looks pretty clean, if you ask me. My name is Aaron Miller, and I am a commercial DP in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I want to talk about this director's monitor and also one of the key pieces that really makes this thing so cheap. So I've talked about the TP Mini on this channel before, and you can actually check that review out right there. But Shimbol actually reached out again, and they wanted to send me their new upgraded TP Max, as well as their most affordable monitor, the Shimbol M5. Now, to be completely honest, I was initially hesitant about reviewing another wireless transmitter, but then it hit me when I thought about it. Both the TP Max and the Shimbol M5 were less than $300. Now, I don't just want to review gear and promote consumerism, but at the same time, I was thinking about how I could make a pretty savvy and really affordable director's monitor with those two things as the core bones of a director's monitor. So let's dive into the details of the TP Max and what makes it different than its little brother, the TP Mini, and also why it's just such insane value. And then if you stick around to the end, I'll actually show you the full rig breakdown of the director's monitor and what you could expect to have to buy if you wanted to make a rig similar to this one. So the TP Max honestly looks exactly like the TP Mini. It just looks like it has a new skin, and that's about it. My initial feedback on the previous TP Mini was that I didn't love how flashy it was. I actually threw gaff tape, and I've had gaff tape on it ever since. I also said how you couldn't really see the labels on which one was transmitter, which one was receiver, and where HDMI out and HDMI in was, and all of that was fixed. So good job there. Now I do assume the internals are a little different because rather than 600 feet, it is almost double that with 1,000 feet of range. But other than that, everything else seems to be almost the exact same. One thing that I really was impressed with, the TP Mini was just dead simple to set up. You plugged it in, you turned it on, and it synced, and it was good to go. And I've used it on a handful of jobs ever since then, and I haven't had an issue at all. Now, I'm never using it for something like pulling focus. It's really only as a reference monitor. I'm not camera operating with it as well. So your mileage may vary, but I also think you should just know what it is and use its strengths to itself rather than trying to use it like a really expensive wireless transmitter. Okay, so I did a quick test basically replicating exactly what I did last time with the TP Mini. I walked all the way through the house to my garage. It's about a 2,000 square foot house, and my office is almost near the end of one of the farthest hallways from the garage. It actually did better than last time because once I stepped foot into the garage about midway, it started lagging. I actually went all the way to the end of the garage behind my car, which we're now talking about 5 walls as well as a car. And there was zero lag, no latency. And so I think we could say A, it's better than the TP Mini, and B, it actually performs as good as I can imagine it would in this situation. So what you're seeing here is me just walking down my neighborhood road and testing the range. It did really well actually with my body blocking it. There was an instance where it switched Wi-Fi channels, and as it's switching channels, it lags, but then it immediately gets smooth again. And then there's no issues. It goes through and switches Wi-Fi channels again here, and again, no issues. Hello. My neighbors think I'm crazy. But other than that, like, I ultimately walked 450-ish feet, and it performed really well, except for the 3 instances where it changed Wi-Fi frequencies. So range, really good. Now, the only knock that I will have on the TP Max is that it has a little bit of color banding. But I think that is probably to be expected with what I would assume is 8-bit footage. There isn't a ton of literature on this device yet. And so all I can tell you is from my experience as reference, it works perfectly fine. Now let's just briefly talk about the M5 monitor. It is what I have attached as the director's monitor here. Ultimately, it's about $140, and I don't know that there's better value at $140. One thing that has been a real big annoyance for me is anytime for budget monitors that I've turned false color on, it makes the LUT go away. And that is not the case on this monitor. And so I'm able to have hotkeys. There's 3 function buttons. I can make one false color, focus peaking, and then the other zebras or whatever. And it seems to work really well. Outside of that, I can't remark too much on the brightness. It's 1200 nits, which for that price range and this build quality, I don't know that I've really seen that before. So I wouldn't really hesitate in saying this is a great budget monitor. Other than that, I don't want to get too technical with things, but I like it, it works well, and it's pretty bright. Okay, let's actually dive into the director's monitor build and talk about what all went into it. The core of this system is obviously the Shimbol TP Max and the Shimbol M5. You ultimately could use whatever monitor you wanted, but I do think if you're really trying to stick at that budget and value mark, then you might as well go with both Shimbol devices here. On top of that, I added a cage, which was actually a smartphone rigging cage, but it worked perfectly with this system. It also came with these side handles that are very similar to the Small HD Teradek side handles that you'll get on the Small HD monitors. That was one of the biggest perks to me, was having like really nice side handles. I think the entire cage cost me $60, and that included these side handles and the structure of the director's monitor cage. So next, I added an L-shaped cheese plate, and this was just so I could rig a V-mount plate to it. And the last bit of this build is this Portkeys double-sided NPF dummy battery. One really cool thing about this is it's got 2 female sleds, and so I can plug it into the monitor and I can plug the wireless transmitter into the other end. So it acts as a rigging and a mounting support for the TP Max, but it also acts as power for the monitor and the TP Max. So all I need is one cable running from the V-mount to that dummy battery, and it's powering and mounting and supporting everything. It's a really cool piece of gear, and you could actually use that on your camera rig as well for your transmitter. It really is so nice just having a wireless monitor like this. I think walking around and doing self-filming setups will be so much more enjoyable having this setup. So just one of the big perks that I'm really excited, and this thing feels pretty rock solid for being just rigged up. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of this. So if you like what you saw and you wanted to build something like this, then there are links in the description down below. Buying from those links costs you guys no extra, but it does help support this channel, and I get a little kickback because y'all use my links. And so any support is really helpful. If that is just subscribing and liking this video, then that is more help than you can imagine. So thanks again for watching and hanging out, and I will catch you guys in the next one.